This week on Backpacker Get Out More TV, Steve and Jordan take us into the Adirondack Mountains of New York. Join us on our Backpacker Get Out More TV Adirondack Mountains adventure. Welcome back to another edition of Backpacker Get Out More TV. I'm your host, Randy Propster, and this week we'll take you on an adventure into the Adirondack Mountains of New York. Before we get too far though, please make sure that you click the like button, click that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so that you'll be informed every time we go live. Find the links in the comments and the description below so that you can learn more about the brands, the gear, and the retailers that we feature this week, and the live link to the Backpacker Get Out More TV gear giveaway is currently active. So please be sure to find that link and sign up now for your chance to win an amazing prize pack from some great brands this week. We've got prizes from Visit NC Smokies, Darn Tough, Jetboil, Leki, Mystery Ranch, Oboes, Sawyer Products, and Yellowstone Select. So you don't want to miss out. Last week, Steve and Jordan shared a few highlights from their home in the mountains of North Carolina, and we loved it so much that we wanted to bring you some more great footage. We want to make sure that you know that when you're exploring in their backyard, it is full of inspiration. Living right on the doorstep of the Smokies is a pretty special thing to do. When you visit, it's going to be hard not to want to stay at the Route 19 Inn. Matt Ferguson and his team have put together one of the coolest retro inns that you're gonna find, and sometimes the place you lay your head can be a destination in and of itself. Let's learn more now from Matt about the Route 19 Inn in Haywood County, North Carolina.
I'm Matt Ferguson with Route 19 Inn, one of the owners here, and our place here is a 1948 retro motor lodge that we brought back to its original retro road trip glory, and we're one of many great accommodations here in Maggie Valley and Haywood County. And the thing that our guests love is its proximity to all that the Great Smoky Mountains has to offer. The Blue Ridge Parkway, the Appalachian Trail, hundreds of miles of trails within the national park. And Maggie Valley is just a perfect hub for seeing it all. Here at Route 19 Inn, we get a lot of hikers and backpackers that love to base camp here because it's close to everything. So we look forward to seeing you here. Come see us.
This week, Steve and Jordan took a road trip from their Haywood County home all the way up to the Adirondack Mountains of New York, and we couldn't imagine getting out there on trail without first stopping in at one of the gateways to adventure in New York. If you're ever in Western New York, the Amherst area near Buffalo, you must stop in to Gear for Adventure. The staff, the team, they live, they play, they love the mountains of New York. So we stopped in to get the full download on the route we would be exploring this week. Please, let's have a look in to Gear for Adventure in Western New York.
My name is Kevin Beckwith, and we are at the Amherst store of Gear for Adventure. My wife and I took a trip to Algonquin Park in Canada, fell in love with the outdoors, and said if we ever have kids, let's start a business in this industry, and that's what we did. We carry backpacks, sleeping bags, tents, stoves, hiking footwear, anything to get you outdoors. We have expert staff on hand, all very experienced, that can help you with anything from basic day hikes to high-end backpacking trips.
Hi, my name is Mary Nowak. I'm the floor manager here at Gear for Adventure. There are plenty of places to explore all across New York State. The Watkins Glen State Park, all of the Finger Lakes region, Letchworth, Catskills, and the Adirondack State Park. When folks come in, we kind of see what their adventure plans are, whether they need a new pair of boots, they're upgrading their sleep system, extra pair of socks, or consumables like freeze-dried food, water treatment, or bug repellent, those kind of stuff. We ask them what their expectations of the outdoors are and walk them through the things that they need to enjoy as much as possible. We are at gearforadventure.com. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at Gear for Adventure, and we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/gearforadventure.
Whether you're in search of destination details or that latest piece of gear, your local specialty retailer really is an expert that you should call on. They don't just sell great gear, they use it, they live it, they love it. And we love that about the team at Rusted Moon Outfitters, another great shop that we had a chance to visit this week. We wanted to learn more from Rusted Moon about ensuring that we can get the perfect fit in our backpack. And we did that by taking a look at a system that you'll find in a handful of Mystery Ranch packs. It's a patented system called the Futura yoke. And this week we're going to take a closer look with the team from Rusted Moon Outfitters.
Hi, I'm Ron from Rusted Moon Outfitters in Indianapolis, Indiana. We opened in 2002 in a little village of Indianapolis called Broad Ripple. We service paddlers, travelers, backpackers, day hikers, lifestyle enthusiasts who just like nice outdoor stuff. We have this great luxury of having awesome relationships with our community and our customer base who travel regionally, nationally, locally. We have a fantastic state park and river system and a lot of great local reservoirs that people love paddling.
This is the Mystery Ranch Sphinx 60 pack. Great for big weekend trip, 3-day. You could also do a week. Some of us could do 2 or more weeks in this pack. It's a very nice pack. Simple features, very clean. Adjustability system is the best. You can, if you need a slight adjustment, you just lift the loop, pull out the plastic sheet right here, the frame sheet. It slides right down, breaks up the Velcro, so you can micro adjust it here, up and down, wherever you like. Take it out and put it back. If you needed to completely adjust or replace the yoke and harness, all you do is undo your top load tensioners, undo your main buckle straps down here, the adjusters at the bottom, and you can slide it completely out of the pack to replace or change size. When you're finished, take the frame sheet, slides right back in very easily. Flap goes back over it and down. Make sure it's all sealed really, really well, and you're all set. It's that easy. It's probably one of the nicest, cleanest, simplest adjusting systems I've ever seen. The adjustability is important because not everybody is the same size. There are variances within those sizes as well. You could adjust this for somebody with a little longer torso that maybe it was a large is a little too big, medium is on the cusp, you can adjust it up to fit them. In a large, if they're, again, on that different size, they need the larger hip belt and they're close to the large medium, you can adjust it up or down to accommodate that torso size, waist and everything as well. You can also, this one has a little give and adjustability to it if you needed to. You can break it up. Somebody that might have a shoulder issue, you can cant it just slightly. You know, if they have a collarbone issue or nobody's symmetrically straight. So a lot of times, especially us girls, have a higher left shoulder. We're used to carrying our purse or our bag on our left. So it's a little higher. You can accommodate that for comfort so that it's not too much pressure on one side and not enough on the other. You can accommodate that just in a simple, there, it took like what, a second or less? And then right back.
To find out more about Rusted Moon, give us a call at 317-253-HIKE. Find us on Facebook or check us out at rustedmoon.com.
It's critical that we take a closer look at all of our gear, and we're really thankful that the team at Rusted Moon Outfitters was able to help us do that this week. We also know that when we're checking out gear, we're paying attention to specifications. We let things like weight, volume, dimensions, and materials speak for themselves in this week's Just the Specs, featuring the Mystery Ranch Scree 32.
Friends, seeing as we're on the road and we don't have a ton of space for things, we have to be careful on what we choose to use for our adventures. This Mystery Ranch 32 Scree has been a favorite of mine. When we're doing day hikes, we're about to go down this Forest Service road and check out a little fire tower, but this has been kind of like my day camera bag, my fishing bag, or if we're just going for a quick hike to check something out. The specs for this pack are it's 2.9 pounds. It sports YKK zippers. It's a 210D fabric. And it sits at 32 liters, so you can fit all kinds of stuff. Got some nice hip pockets for some snacks, or I keep some camera stuff in there. Mystery Ranch is on a mission to make the world's best backpacks for a wide variety of outdoor enthusiasts. Built to be extremely configurable with a concentration on organization and accessibility. Plus, these bags are bomb-proof. They are purpose-built to assure not only usability, but durability. To learn more about Mystery Ranch backpacks, visit mysteryranch.com or check out the links in the description below.
In our last episode, we asked you to leave comments in the comments section to share with us your sock nightmares. We loved being able to give away a pair of Darn Tough socks, and we loved hearing your stories so much that we put a segment together this week that would help you with those cold feet and wet sock situations in what we like to call dodging pitfalls.
One of the quickest ways to have a bad experience when you're out in the backcountry is if your feet are uncomfortable. And one of the ways that that can happen is if your feet get wet and then they get cold because they're wet when you get back to camp and the temperature drops and stuff like that. So there's a few different things that you can do to kind of prevent this. One of which is using the right material. You want to make sure that your socks are merino wool, which all Darn Tough socks are. That's why they're my favorite. Another thing that you would want to do is I always bring 2 pairs of socks. So I bring the pair that I'm hiking in. These are the ones I've been using. They're the thinner hike socks. So they've got the reinforced cushion on them, but the material itself is a little bit thinner everywhere else. So I hike in those. Obviously having the proper rain gear for if it rains will help keep your feet warm, but you can't always guarantee that your feet are not going to get wet, right? You might have a creek crossing. You might have water that drips into your shoe. And if all else, you're definitely gonna sweat. So even though that merino wool wicks the sweat off of you, the socks themselves can be a little bit damp, and that can get really uncomfortable when temperatures drop. So I've got my pair that I hike in, and then I bring a thicker pair for at camp at night, or if these somehow get really, really wet, then I've got a backup pair. That way I'm not hiking in wet socks. And that is how you can dodge the pitfall of wet, cold feet. You can't take full advantage of hiking if you don't take good care of your feet, and that's why we love Darn Tough socks so much. They offer a variety of colors and designs for men and women. They're super comfortable because they're made from merino wool blend that's also antimicrobial, so they don't get funky. And best of all, the socks are so durable that Darn Tough offers a lifetime warranty. To learn more about Darn Tough socks, go to darntough.com or click the link in the description below.
As a kid, my pops would remind me often of a system he called the 5 Ps. He would say proper planning prevents poor performance. Well, I say that sometimes the proper plan is a backup plan. And that's just what Steve and Jordan had to rely on this week when they realized that their first choice in the Adirondack Mountains was going to place them at an overcrowded trailhead on a trail that was potentially going to be overused. And they wanted to avoid that. And that decision gets my Leave No Trace seal of approval. So I'm happy to know that Steve and Jordan found another route near the headwaters of the Hudson River, a route that was going to be a little rockier, maybe a little more difficult terrain, but certainly a route that paid off with beautiful views and an amazing trip in the Adirondack Mountains. Let's join Steve and Jordan out on trail now and see how the adventure begins.
I think this year with everything going on, more and more people are getting outside, which is amazing. They're discovering their own backyards. The Adirondacks is a really wild place, so you definitely need to do your research beforehand. You definitely need to know what you're getting yourself into. It's easy to get lost. It's easy to get yourself in a situation where you could potentially get hurt. So do the research beforehand. Make sure you know where you can camp, whether or not you can have fires, what kind of bear precautions that you need to have. For example, this trip we have to have a bear canister specifically. A bear hang isn't necessarily good enough, it's not an option. So we'll have to go rent one of those from a local retailer. So just things like that, it's really important to do your research beforehand so that you can protect these areas that we love. I love that people are getting outside more. With that, we've definitely seen some overcrowding of parking areas and maybe a little bit more trash and things like that. So, you know, don't forget that we're stewards for the wilderness also. So we're, you know, don't be afraid to pick up trash if you see it on the trail. If you show up to a parking lot and it's really overcrowded, I guarantee you there's probably 5 other trails within a 10-mile radius of you. So maybe go try and find somewhere else instead of parking on the grass. Just little things like that that can minimize the impact that we're having on the area is really awesome.
What she said. So as you can see, the bugs are pretty bad. Comes with all the water and being up north with the black flies, but we've got a fly eater in our group. Couldn't be more grateful for her. Right, Sage? You get him? Get him, Sage. Started like 5 miles down that seam. There'd be a river that drops down in there. Came up, made our way around some lakes and water, popped out, and now we're gonna go around all this, set up camp somewhere in there. There's a lean-to available. Run up her for sunset, wake up early, breakfast and coffee up there, and then I think it's like a 5-mile loop back down to the truck. This is the headwaters of the Hudson River. Quick water stop. Where are we headed, Jordan? Uh-oh. After our little swim, we found one lean-to, but it was a little buggy, so we decided to keep pushing forward. Found this incredible lake. It's got a big glacial cut basin. So we set up this little lean-to. We're gonna drop the heavy stuff. We also found a pretty cool looking peak just across the way. It's like 2.5 miles, so we're gonna run out there for sunset and make some food. This episode, we've had to bring a bear canister. Now, a bear canister is something not everybody's familiar with. Most people think, you know, oh, I hang my food, but in certain areas, bears get really smart and they can figure out how to take your bear hang down or figure out how to wiggle the branch. So these are pretty awesome. There's no way for it to get in there. We like to bring just like a quarter with us or a dime and twist it and then press this little button here. You've got access to all your food. We like to go for a walk about 100 yards off trail from camp and stash it somewhere safe. I've never had any issue with them. I think they're great, and a lot of the local outfitters here, such as Cloud Splitter, will rent them to you if you're just passing through or you only need one for a night or two. Saw Mount Colden from the lake. Decided we needed to walk around the lake. Go take a better look at it. I think the sun's setting up here at like 9:15 right now. It's like, what time is it, Jordan? About 7? 1.5 miles straight up, 2,000 feet. We got this, right? Look at them views. Whew. We started way out there. I think that's Mount Adams. There's a fire tower there. We're sleeping down in here. Tomorrow we're gonna come up this ridgeline, kind of back down into the car that way, but glorious. Let's see what's on the other side. Hey Jordan, how you doing? You made it.
I'm good. I'm exhausted, but I'm good.
It's pretty amazing up here. I'm gonna make a post-hike drink. Our friends at Yellowstone call this the Overlook Old Fashioned. 2 ounces of bourbon. We're gonna do 4 splashes of bitters. We like the Angostura ones. And then a spoonful of apricot preserves. Now I'm gonna mix that around for 30 seconds. If you have an orange in your cooler, I like to take the orange skin and kind of zest it over the drink and add that as well. Ooh, towards that.
Yellowstone bourbon is handcrafted in the state of Kentucky. These small batch whiskeys are the work of 7th generation craftsmen, resulting in a unique taste, perfect for the trail. Plus, a portion of every bottle sold goes to helping preserve our national parks. Cheers to that. To learn more about the products from Yellowstone Bourbon, head on over to limestonebranch.com or click the link in the description below.
For this week's What's Cooking, I'm gonna show you guys how to make backcountry chicken Alfredo. So, few simple ingredients. We're using the Jetboil Mini Mo for this one. It's perfect for making any kind of pastas and just eating it right out of it. Again, it attaches right to the fuel pump and it has a click light on it. So this is definitely a go-to of ours. Just to kind of run down of the ingredients, I've got some pasta with me that I just spilled everywhere, blooper reel. The Alfredo is just this garlic and herb sauce mix. And I've got some bacon bits, because who doesn't want to add some extra bacon on there? And I brought a shallot. This has become a new food staple of mine in the backcountry because it's kind of just basically like a mini onion. So those are pretty cool. And I got a can of mushrooms, and then just something that we did before we came out is we cooked and prepped the chicken beforehand. So all we have to do is heat it up in here and we're getting to eat fresh chicken. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Making sure you've got some tasty food and beverage out there on trail with you is certainly an aspect of your backpacking that should not be forgotten. And speaking of things that should not be forgotten, we called upon our friends at Appalachian Outfitters in Peninsula, Ohio, to bring us up to speed on a feature in your footwear that's often overlooked. We're going to take a look at the Oboz O-Fit insole in this edition of Forgotten Features.
Hello, I am Cora. I'm the general manager here at Appalachian Outfitters, and we're located right at the entrance of the Cuyahoga Valley National Park in Peninsula, Ohio. So here at our store, we sell a really wide range of gear. Really we focus on all hiking, backpacking, camping, and also kayaking gear. We cater to a wide range of customers, do a lot of work with scouts, all the way up to retired folks who are traveling the country.
Hi, my name is Matt from Appalachian Outfitters here in Peninsula, Ohio. I'm here to talk about Oboz footwear. They come in a variety of styles, whether it be a low top, a mid top, or an insulated. Generally people with wider feet. It's mainly just the forefoot that's wide, not the heel. The heel is mainly just kind of there. It's not as wide as the forefoot, so The oboes generally have a wider forefoot but a narrower heel. So it fits a large variety of people, even if you don't have a wide foot and you just like that feeling of comfort and some room in there. You're not going to get any heel slippage in these. And then along with the arch support in the insole, it actually has some structure to it. It's not going to just collapse as soon as you put it on. A lot of other shoes just kind of have a piece of foam as their insole, and it's not going to provide any support. It's really there just as a kind of a filler. These are going to provide any overpronation that one might have when they're hiking. That's going to help prevent that, and also has some urethane shock absorbers in the heel and the metatarsals, so you do get that in like the high strike areas. A lot of people also like the outsoles. Deeper lugs, you're going to get lots of traction. Any mud or anything, it's going to handle that really well. Also on the back, a lot of the heels you see more of a structure here. That's going to lengthen the longevity of the shoe, just so these don't wear out or stretch out, and also provide a little bit of lateral support there.
You can find out more information about our store on our website, www.appalachianoutfitters.com.
Obos Footwear. We plant a tree for every pair sold. 1 million and counting. That's a lot of f***ing trees.
I've had the opportunity to backpack in the Adirondacks many, many times, and it never gets old. It's an absolutely beautiful place. It is loved by many. The challenge with that is sometimes that love leads to overuse, overcrowding, and we've seen that, and we know it's one of the challenges that the Adirondacks face, and so we wanted to talk to somebody who's battling that battle on the front line. So I'm really excited today to have Scott Van Laird join us. Scott is the head of the union that represents Forest Rangers of New York, and talk about a guy who knows the issues. And so Scott, it is wonderful to have you join us. Thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How do you get a gig as the head of the Union of the Forest Rangers of New York? Give me a little bit of your background and your love for the Adirondacks.
Oh, thank you so much for this opportunity. So New York is very unique, especially with the Adirondack Park, which was founded in 1885, but it's very different than the national park system in America and Canada as well. So New York was at the forefront of setting aside land for public use, and also they added it to the state constitution, and they listed a key phrase calling it forever wild. And this was done essentially in 1885 and a little bit later with legislation. But the Forest Ranger Force here in New York was established to be the stewards of that land since 1885. So it's a real honor to be in that position. And I really grew up in a job. I grew up in the Adirondack. My father was a forest ranger from the mid-70s. So while I've been a ranger since 1996, I often say I've been a ranger since 1977. So it's really been a life experience for me. I've been assigned to the High Peaks Wilderness, which is the largest and busiest wilderness area inside the Adirondack Park since 1999.
Well, hey, that's not a bad assignment. People ask me all the time, how do I get a gig like that? I'm sure you often get asked the same. To get to play in that background on a regular basis, you've seen it, you've grown up loving it, and I guarantee some of the challenges that it faces are very personal to you. And I want to kind of use this opportunity to talk to our audience a bit about a call to action. I've said many times that the most underutilized resource is the human resource when it comes to protecting our beautiful wild places. And I would imagine if I were to go through the list, those 7 principles, even just as a starting point for folks, plan ahead and prepare, travel and camp on durable surfaces, dispose of waste properly, leave what you found, minimize your campfire impacts, respect wildlife and be courteous to others. I would bet we don't get a perfect score, as users. Some folks try really hard, but there's certainly issues that you guys face, and dealing with the fact that when folks come into these beautiful places and don't leave it as beautiful as it was, puts you as rangers in a tight spot. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. What kind of grade would you give us, or how are we doing when it comes to protecting these beautiful places?
Sure. So our use is spiked around the country, probably around the globe. People are getting out and recreating more than ever, and that's a wonderful people think. But we encourage people to do the background information, prepare themselves, know the regulations, know what they need to do so personally they can protect the environment, all the things you mentioned. So that's key for everybody going out there. Now, within the Adirondacks and the Catskill Forest Preserve, both in New York, those are a bit challenging in the sense that they're right around large metropolitan areas. So they're right around Boston, New York City, Montreal. But the great thing about the digital age is all that information is at people's fingertips. Yeah. Everybody's watching on a computer or phone on this, and you can get that information, but it's up to you to do it. And it's up to you to follow through when you're in the backcountry. And as forest rangers, we have 3 primary missions here in New York in the Adirondack. It is the protection of the land. So we're the stewards of the land. It's making sure people comply with our regulations. And all of our regulations are based on the authority of the resource. They're all about protecting the resource. That's why they were written. The second thing is we do the search and rescue. So we help people that are hurt or lost. A lot of our incidents, search and rescue incidents, are preventable. Some of them are not and will always be there for people, but they're really basic things like having the essential gear. People will probably be surprised, but we have to go in for people who just don't have a headlamp sometimes. So yes, we're always happy to help people out. Trips and falls, serious injuries can happen. But if it's initiated because you didn't bring some basic essential gear like a headlamp, that's troublesome. And the third thing we do is the wildland fire work here. On the East Coast, we do have a lower fire behavior than the West, but it's still a big part of our mission.
Sure. So you say we, and that you are speaking, talking about your, brothers and sisters of forest rangers. And one of the things that I find interesting and in some ways not only challenging to you, but a bit of a concern is the fact that if you look at the land base that you are responsible for, and as you said, this goes back a long time. This has been protected land. If I just go back 30 years when, like you said, you've been doing this since the 70s, as a ranger in training, so to speak, your father had a group of folks around him that was a bigger number of people, a larger staff then with less land to protect than you have now, less people to protect more land. Help me out with that math. What am I missing, and does that make sense?
No, it doesn't make sense, and you hit the nail on the head there. So what really happened is overall the ranger staffing level in New York is flat, and it's been flat since the 70s. But what happened was the DEC, New York State, started adding public land outside of the Adirondacks and Catskills. So we've added some other land, and what they did was they moved some forest ranger positions from the Adirondack to those areas instead of increasing staff. Then what happened since the 1980s, really, this is a long-standing issue, the use has just really skyrocketed. Now, the last 7-8 years were kind of on exponential growth, honestly. And we can see that with the user data, the visitor data, and also the search and rescue incident. So think about I'll just bring it back to the Adirondack Park. So the Adirondack Park is about 6 million acres. Only about half is public land, but we also have what's called easements here. And that's where private land, the state has purchased some recreational access or public access to that private land. So it's a very unique opportunity. It's essentially for the forest ranger and the public the same as state land. So think about these 3 million acres of public accessible lands in the Adirondacks. For all of that, we have only 50 forest rangers.
Wow. And
that model is very, very low compared to the national park system. And we've just really struggled to that. Now, struggled to improve that. Now, why is that in New York? Why have we struggled to keep up with the model that works really well for the federal system? The main reason, and this is great for the public in the sense that the forest preserve is free. I mean, it is free. It's the most accessible public land, I think, in the country.
Yeah.
It's open 24/7. There's very few limitations, except for some regs that are about the authority of the resource, how long you can camp and where you can camp. But it's incredibly available. The forest preserve was created to be free and available to all. Now, what has that done for us in terms of creating an infrastructure and staffing to manage, protect that land and protect the public? It's meant limitations and shortfalls, honestly. And I think the answer to do that is just an increase in our general budget. Honestly, I don't want to see gates. I don't want to see fees. I love that this is so accessible. I love that you can literally at midnight, head out on the trail and make a sunrise hike on a high peak. It's incredible. Yeah. We just don't have the limitations of the national parks. But what we do have is we have that same use structure, that same, if I can use the word overuse, which, can be debated. Sure. But it's overuse in terms of staffing. That is the key. It's overuse in terms of infrastructure. So that's where we are in New York. And New York has been committed and honestly leading the way, I think, nationally for 125 years in land preservation. But we need to get to the point where we're committed to having the staffing and infrastructure to handle the amount of use we have here. And that's going to require a slight increase in staffing. In all of New York, there are only 106 field rangers. 106. So we're a tiny force. We like being small. We don't need to be big. We're talking about an incremental change in staffing that'll protect the land and protect the public recreating there.
Well, I thank you. I thank everybody that is on your team, all of those rangers out there doing everything every single day to protect these beautiful places. It is a gift. It's that, your land is my land, that like you said, that access that we have, and we need to respect it and we need to treat it like it's our own. And that's, again, that call to action to every one of you watching at home. Do your part. Help Scott and his team out. We can make changes in our own habits on trail that free up some of the resources that they would otherwise have to spend fixing what we mess up, right? So let's be prepared. Let's not put the search and rescue teams in positions they don't have to be in. Let's not make them come up and clean up behind us when we don't leave camp the way we should. So that's my call to action. Scott, thank you so much for the insights. Thank you for loving the Adirondacks and continuing to battle to protect those wild places that we all love. As a matter of fact, we're going to get back out on trail. Steve and Jordan are out there exploring the Adirondacks, and our next segment is going to go back out. I think they find a pretty cool, an old plane crash site. I think they take a dip in a lake along the way. So this is going to be a fun segment to watch. So hey, everybody, enjoy another segment of Steve and Jordan out on trail in the Adirondack Mountains.
Welcome to Cribs Adirondack Edition. We've got a simple A-frame. Roll our pads out, and we also put a little clothesline up. We got really sweaty, we went swimming, so we ran this to keep our stuff dry while we're out hiking. It would dry, and if it rained, it'd still be safe and not getting wet again.
Pulling a Steve is what I refer to as changing the plans very last minute.
Just a wee bit steep out here. What do you say?
Just a wee bit.
Should have brought our ropes. Caught some amazing blooms out here. So to find out what these are, feel free to help me if you're local and you know. The trail is just littered with them on either side though. So y'all, I think I just found a plane crash. I'm not sure, how long it's been here. There's some graffiti on it, so it's definitely been here a minute. I was kind of looking through the trees and spotted something that kind of caught my eye. There is a Cessna.
The Adirondack Mountains are definitely a very special place, and I'm so happy to see that Steve and Jordan enjoyed an amazing adventure, even going with a backup plan. a backup plan that put them on a route that was a little more rocky, a little more challenging to navigate, but well worth it in the end. And I guarantee that having a set of Leki trekking poles with them made that terrain more manageable. I know that when I go out without my poles, I feel almost lost. I feel like something is missing, which is why I want to convince you that you can upgrade your system by simply adding a couple of poles to the mix. So we're going to bring you this week's edition of Instant Upgrades featuring Leki trekking poles.
So if you're still using one of these old wizard staffs here as your hiking stick, it is time to instantly upgrade to a pair of Leki trekking poles. While a stick may technically work, it's going to be heavy, bulky, and you're going to be stuck with whatever size it is. So let's ditch the stick and get you a pair of Leki trekking poles. These are super, super lightweight. They're compactable to stuff in your pack when you don't need them. They have a strap support here for extra grip. And not to mention, they're way more comfortable. You're not gonna get splinters from them, things like that. So again, while a walking stick may technically work, it's definitely much better to use an actual trekking pole when you're hiking. Leki trekking poles are a great addition to your pack to help with extra stability and help take the pressure off your knees and ankles. Leki trekking poles come in a variety of lightweight materials and styles. The innovative handles are super comfortable and they offer a unique adjustable strap system. Plus, they break down really easily to store in your pack when you're not using them. To learn more about the products from Leki, head on over to leki.com or click the link in the description below.
I am all for improving your comfort and confidence out there on trail with a gear upgrade. And I'm also all for ensuring I have the gear with me that will make me feel safe out there on trail. Which is why with this week's edition of Skills Every Backpacker Should Know, we take a look at the importance of filtering your water, even if that water looks clean.
For this week's Skills Every Backpacker Should Know, I'm going to talk to you guys about water filtration. So there's a lot of different methods out there that you can use as to how you filter your water. The important thing is that you are filtering your water. There's a lot of bacteria. Even if the water looks crystal clear, there's things you cannot see that can make you really, really sick. So you got to make sure that you filter it before you drink it. As thirsty and as tempting as a beautiful water source may be, use a filtration system. We are really big fans of the Sawyer system. So I use these two the most. I use the Sawyer Mini, and I like this one because I can just get to a water source, fill up my water bottle, screw it on, and just drink straight out of it, and I've got fresh water in like 10 seconds. So if you're really thirsty, that's a good one in a pinch. If you've got a little extra time or need to fill up a large amount, we really like the Sawyer Gravity filter. So you just, same thing, you fill up the bag, attach the Sawyer filter to it directly, get your other water bottle, and then you dump it and Gravity does the work for you.
From staying hydrated to staying bug-free, Sawyer products have been a staple in my pack for years now. Today we're taking a look at Sawyer water filtration systems. Whether you choose to squeeze or let gravity do the work, staying hydrated is a key part of backpacking. And with their lightweight design and ease of use, they've become my favorite pick for the backcountry. To learn more about these or any of Sawyer's products, head on over to Sawyer.com or visit the link in the description below.
Our goal this week and every week on Backpacker Get Out More TV is to provide you with information that you need to feel safer, more comfortable, and more confident when you get out there on trail. We hope that the skills and gear, tips, and techniques that we and the outdoor experts from great shops like Gear for Adventure, Rusted Moon Outfitters, and Appalachian Outfitters provided today will enhance your experience on your next trip. We hope that you enjoyed the Adirondack Mountains of New York, and we want you to come back and join us next week. Thursday night, August 13th, we're going to premiere our White Mountains episode where we get a chance to seek the peak at Mount Washington. Before then, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so that you'll be informed when we premiere live next week. Also be sure to check out the link for the gear giveaway. That link is active, and we have an amazing prize pack. Brands like Visit NC Smokies, Darn Tough, Jetboil, Leki, Mystery Ranch, Oboe's Footwear, Sawyer Products, and Yellowstone Select Kentucky Bourbon have all provided prizes that you could win just by signing up. We really hope that you'll come back and join us next week. And before you go, we want to ask you to don't go, or at least that's the name of the great song from a band called the Maggie Valley Band back in Steve and Jordan's hometown of Haywood County, North Carolina. So enjoy Don't Go by the Maggie Valley Band. We'll see you next week on Backpacker Get Out More TV.
Don't go on that silly airplane. I hate to say I told you so. I told you no. I told you not to go.